I'm impressed, Naruto, Kakashi said genuinely. Naruto grinned smugly as he walked casually along the pond. At this point, he didn't even need to think as he laid foot after foot onto the water. I told you, sensei. Now, about that bet we made. Naruto drawled. Yeah. I'll think of something and teach it to you later. Naruto leaped out of the pond, walking towards the training sector where Sasuke and Sakura were. The blonde hadn't told Sasuke about the water exercise. Something told him it wouldn't bode well to do so. Sasuke was still doing the tree exercise. Unsurprisingly, his kunai mark was much higher than before, but still far from perfect. Sasuke leaped off of the tree another time, his foot unsticking from the wood right at around 3/4 of the entire length. Better time than ever to start helping him, I guess. Hey Sasuke, Naruto called out to the tired Genin. Sasuke looked back at Naruto with surprise, before settling his expression once more. What do you want? Naruto grinned. I'm here to help you. Saying that felt good. The raven-haired ninja bristled, before slowly nodding in acceptance. What do I do? Well, having seen you attempt the exercise itself, I can give some tips. The main issue with you right now is that you're unable to keep the chakra to your legs for enough time. That could be because you've put too much chakra into your legs, which would be impossible to control, Naruto mentioned. And how do I put less chakra? Sasuke asked. How do you know how much chakra to put in a fire jutsu versus a clone? Try and find that difference and apply it here. Sasuke stared at him like he was an alien. That's oddly smart coming from you. Naruto scowled. Yeah, whatever. I need the jutsu once we return to Konoha, by the way. Sasuke snorted before running towards the tree again. Naruto didn't need to look any longer. He knew Sasuke would get it sooner or later. Besides, he had something even bigger to look forward to. 2 attribute points. 2. He had waited until now to add the points, not because he was an entirely patient person, but because he simply wasn't sure what exactly to do. Name: Naruto Uzumaki. Title: The Gamer. Occupation: Genin of Konoha. Level: LV7. HP: 100 out of 100. MP: 100 out of 100. Chakra: 2000/2000. STR: 6. Vit: 10. Dex: 6. Int: 5. Wis: 3. Luck: 1. Current skills: Shadow Clone Jutsu LVL 3. Class: Not applicable. Attribute points: 2. Is it finally time to increase my luck and wisdom? Naruto asked himself, scratching the back of his head. He could keep his VIT stat the same for a long period of time, considering just how high it was. Strength might need some improvement. Luck, intelligence, and wisdom were the stats which were lacking the most. Balanced approach? But something just felt so wrong with increasing his supposed luck and wisdom when he could automatically see the difference in his ability when he increased the other stats. Naruto sighed, the decision creating a tight knot in his head. I guess I'll just listen to Shikamaru. But not completely. Increase strength and wisdom using my attribute points. Attribute point has been used. Strength has been increased by 1 point. Attribute point has been used. Wisdom has been increased by 1 point. Naruto paused for a second, trying to sense a difference. He didn't feel any wiser. What a scam. He thought dejectedly to himself. Naruto took a look deeper into the woods. Maybe he could train by himself for a bit. Damn it. Naruto winced tiredly as ran across the treetops of the forest, his stamina quite low despite the large amount. Training against your own supercharged clones for hours on end was very, very tiring, especially considering it used your own chakra. Luckily, the sun was still out, and navigating back to Inari's home wasn't very difficult. Give or take 10 minutes, Naruto could already see the familiar path to the house they've been living in for a week by now. Leave my mom alone. Inari? Naruto ignored all of his fatigue as he pushed his stamina to the limit, urging his legs to propel him even faster. Yada! Right before a sword plowed through the small boy, Naruto slammed his fist right into the enemy's face, pushing at the last minute to knock the man into the water opposite of the docks. There was one more person. Naruto turned to Inari in worry. Are you okay? BB behind Y. A shining katana stopped right before Naruto's neck. Naruto grinned. Don't worry, these guys ain't nothing for me. After all, the clone could deal with the other guy easily enough. Why did you even come here? Inari asked timidly. Why? Oh, I was training by myself for a while, and the others kind of left without me. So I assumed they would be here, but I guess they aren't. Inari nodded. Regardless, I'm glad you proved me wrong, Inari. A real sissy wouldn't have stood up against those guys like that. Hell, I'm not sure I would have done that when I was your age. You're strong, really strong, Naruto said, no longer looking at Inari. He needed to go. If they sent bandits towards Inari's family of all people, how would the actual bridge be? Who would they be facing? Naruto had a good idea who. Stay safe. I gotta go now. Heroes continue to be heroes after all. Yeah. Inari cheered. Naruto grinned one last time, before running away. His grin slowly molded itself into a solemn frown. This wasn't going to end well, was it? Dash. Naruto made his way onto the bridge, trying to examine the players at hand. Well, tried. The mist practically made it impossible to do so, but also made it very easy to guess who was behind it. Kakashi-sensei was fighting Zabuza, and Naruto wouldn't be surprised if Sasuke and Sakura were fighting Haku by now. Naruto slowly made his way into the mist, trying his best not to alert anyone, especially not Zabuza of all people. Once he was inside, he could clearly see what was happening. He was correct with his previous assumption, except for the fact that Tazuna was on the bridge as well, and Sakura was helping to guard him. What is that dome of ice? Haku's jutsu? Initially, Naruto was planning to sneak attack Haku, but the entire plan changed once he saw the bloodied body of Sasuke. I thought she was a nice person, but no, she's going all in on Sasuke, Naruto thought, enraged. His eyes widened as he saw an opening. He took the chance. A small shuriken sliced through Haku's shoulder as he stumbled onto the bridge. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Without wasting any more words, Naruto made his way into the battlefield. Activating. Skill. Uchiha Clan Taijutsu, LVL2, activated. Usage drains 20 MP points each minute. Naruto engaged the masked boy in combat. Let's test your taijutsu, shall we? Naruto smirked. I'm assuming you've completed the water-walking exercise by now? Haku asked, almost like they weren't enemies at all. Naruto frowned. Why remind me of that now? He ignored her question. Naruto's clones barged in at once, aiming to overwhelm Haku with their sheer size and numbers. The blonde himself went into the air, landing behind Haku gracefully. He aimed a punch carefully at Haku's back, who was too occupied by his numerous other clones, even if they were rapidly decreasing in number. There was no way this punch would miss, right? Wrong. Haku didn't just dodge. He pivoted his legs before pushing Naruto's fist to the side with the back of his hand, redirecting all of the force in a single instant. What the? An instant later, he was swept to his feet by a soundless kick by the missing Nin, then dodging another hit due to the smallest of sounds from the rustling of Haku's baggy clothes. He hadn't realized before, but a reason why Haku's taijutsu was so deadly was because of how silent it was. Naruto wasn't able to hear any movement from Haku before she striked, which made her moves much more unnoticeable before they actually hit. It was a battle between the Uchiha taijutsu and Haku's own. On their own, the Uchiha taijutsu seemed to be much more effective in general, but in the mist, where senses like sound mattered so much, Haku's was even more effective. If this fight continued any longer, Naruto wouldn't be able to win. It would be best to retreat for now. Naruto summoned more clones to deal with, or slow down Haku for the time being. He had to find Sasuke. Was he inside? Hey. Sasuke jumped slightly as Naruto's voice rang in his ear. You came inside? Sasuke partly shrieked, an unusual sound coming from the Uchiha. Why not? Naruto shrugged lightly. You have no idea just what that guy can do in here. He's there. Naruto thought as he saw the image of Haku in one of the mirrors. Sanbon impaled themselves into Naruto as he groaned in the sudden pressure in his back. Blood covered his orange jumpsuit soon after. But the pain wasn't unbearable. Both Naruto and Sasuke stood up immediately after, albeit wincing as they did so. We need to get the hell out of here. Naruto yelled. I'm trying, idiot. Sasuke yelled back. After a flurry of hand signs, red-hot fire was sent towards the opposite side of the ice dome. The fire reflected partially, flaring the entire enclosure in heat. But to no avail. Naruto looked around, defeated. If fire couldn't beat the ice itself, what would? But wait, the ice had melted slightly. You think your fire can beat a pinnacle of Kekkei Jinkai? Haku's voice asked, echoing around the dome. Some more Senbon was thrown at the duo. This time, they were able to dodge more than a few, but were still unable to completely dodge all of them. Naruto desperately ran around the dome, trying to guess where Haku would appear next. What it was near impossible. Pain was all he felt as more objects pierced into his body, drawing more and more blood outwards. This isn't fair. Even with my leveling ability, I don't have any jutsu currently to counter Haku. Is this the end? The Senbon stopped. Amazing, the Sharingan. But will that change the result? Naruto prepared himself for another throw, but it was still too fast. Naruto, to the right. Sasuke yelled. Seeing no other option, he did what Sasuke told him. Nothing hit Naruto. Sasuke's eyes were glowing red. Maybe they had a chance of winning now. With the same jutsu that Kakashi had, Sasuke got a serious power boost. Normally, Naruto would be envious, but right now, survival seemed to be the more important thing. Naruto got up to his feet in a hurry before running back towards Sasuke. He needed his guidance if he wanted to beat Haku right now. Sasuke's eyes swirled rapidly. Above us. Sasuke leaped out of the way, only to realize that Naruto hadn't done the same. His scarlet eyes widened. Did he? Naruto had jumped upwards. As Naruto met the incredibly fast Haku in the middle of his teleportation-type jutsu, he grappled Haku's hands to the side before kicking him in the torso, away from his intended direction. Finally, a direct hit, but he didn't stop there. Quickly summoning clones, they caught Haku's flying body before throwing it back to Naruto. The blonde slammed his foot into Haku's back, sending him into the bridge floor with a loud, painful thud. It had to be over by now. Naruto placed his kunai onto Haku's neck without hesitation and stabbed inwards. Into water. A water clone? I'm sorry, Shinobi, Haku's voice said from somewhere behind him. Sasuke's body lay still next to Haku, whose Senbon stayed pierced all the way through the Uchiha's neck. Naruto's breath stilled. Haku bowed solemnly. It's amazing, really, to have found such a loyal comrade. He definitely could have dodged the projectiles at the last second, considering his own Kekkei Jinkai, but doing so would have made you the target instead. Rage. You must be one of his own precious people for him to react in such a way. If it means anything, I'm sorry for killing your comrade, but it was for my own survival, if anything else. Shinobi are born. Fury. Please do not take it to heart. Ding. The question mark. Wants to lend you chakra. Do you accept? Yes/no. Haku, you're going to die. Naruto growled quietly. I don't think. Naruto disappeared into thin air before appearing next to Haku once more. And your death will be especially painful. He launched a hook at Haku's stomach, pushing him through ice mirrors. Glass shards exploded on the impact, creating a hole in the once impenetrable dome of ice. A tornado of red chakra erupted around Naruto's body as he glared at the ragdoll-like body that rolled onto the bridge. No mercy. Naruto launched a kick straight into the face of Haku, cracking his mask into two. Haku's body spinned across the floor of the bridge before he managed to grab hold of his balance. But it was already over. Tired, bloodied, and faced against an impossibly strong opponent, Haku was ready to give up. He stood up slowly, his eyes closed in acceptance of his death. I can't. Naruto stopped his punch at the last second. A gust of air pushed Haku's mask off of his face, revealing the feminine face to the open mist of the bridge. The whiskers on his face became less pronounced, his eyes became the regular, azure blue, and the red chakra no longer surrounded his body. Naruto stood in silence as he regarded the boy in front of him. Your friend is dead, killed by me, and you still won't kill me? Naruto's rage spiked in an instant, but he reeled it back in by continuing his punch to Haku's face. You've become weaker. What exactly was that form earlier? Not like it matters. Naive people seem to think that letting their opponents live is an act of kindness, but not for me. You've shattered my reason for living. A weak shinobi like me isn't worthy enough to help Master Zabuza. So please, kill me. Naruto couldn't help himself. He laughed in disbelief. What's so great about him? He's a monster. He kills for fun. How can he be anyone's precious person? Haku smiled. Maybe you see him as so. But in the darkness of my times, Zabuza was the one who helped me the most. If I'm no use to the one I'm living for, what's the point of continuing to live? This type of logic, it's horrible. I hate it. So you give up after being beaten once? What about all of the training you did to come so far? Was that all useless, Haku? Haku nodded.
Yes.
You're hopeless, Naruto whispered. He brought up the kunai in a quick motion. He would do this quickly. Haku's eyes widened randomly. The missing nin was gone. Kakashi felt his chidori impale itself into a body, but it wasn't the correct one. His accomplice sacrificed himself for him? Kakashi thought incredulously. Master, Haku whispered quietly. Kakashi, you were wrong again, Zabuza said, chuckling. Blood painted his masked face as his gray eyes started back at Kakashi's own. Thank Kami I helped the boy back then. If not, I'd be dead by now. Ha ha ha, Zabuza shouted, laughing loudly. He swiped his sword across, trying to cleave Kakashi into two, but missing entirely as Kakashi grabbed Haku's body and jumped backwards. Naruto gripped his kunai, but stopped when Kakashi addressed him. Don't. This is my fight, Naruto. Naruto gritted his teeth, but stayed still nonetheless. Yeah, he mostly likely would have died if he tried to fight against Zabuza, but he couldn't care less. Naruto. Naruto winced at Sakura's voice. Thank God you're alive. Let's get Sasuke and get out of here with Tazuna-san. Kakashi-sensei can handle this now. Sakura, Naruto said, pointing to Sasuke's body, which was slightly obstructed by the mist. Naruto watched as Sakura left with Tazuna towards Sasuke's body, before directing his attention back at the fight before him. Kakashi slowly dismantled Zabuza, the slow movements of the latter making it easy to guess his opponents, which was even easier for someone who had a sharingan. Kakashi then demobilized both of Zabuza's arms in a brutal display of fighting. No more jutsus or mist to hide behind, Zabuza. It's over, the Jonin said coldly to the demon of the mist. Clack. Well, well, well. That man definitely made a fine fool of you, demon. A pity. If you die, how will I give you the proper fees? Naruto looked at the other end of the bridge to see a rather short man approach the trio slowly. Behind him stood a mob of bandits, all equipping weapons of their own. Jagged hairline, small, black sunglasses, black shit, and purple tie. The man screamed shady business. Gato, what's all of this? Zabuza asked murderously. Naruto took a step back. Business, Zabuza. I'm going to kill you now. So say your final prayers to the world, please. Don't worry, no one is going to miss you, hee. Someone would. What's the meaning of this? You really think I would pay that amount for you? Never. I'm a businessman, not running a charity. You're infamous around these areas and incredibly skilled. Trying to betray and kill actual shinobi would be hard, considering how many friends they've made along the years. But you, ha ha ha, you were perfect. A missing nin that no one cares about. Does it matter if you die? Don't take it too seriously, Zabuza. It's good business. Either way, it's not like you didn't cheat me either. The demon of the mist? Was that a joke? You lost to some random ninja that recently came here. You're not a demon, Gaddis said, cackling. Zabuza looked back at Kakashi. Kakashi, you are no longer my priority. In our fight, there is no motive for me to assassinate Tazuna. Kakashi nodded in acceptance. But Sasuke, Gaddis stepped forward, kicking Haku's face with contempt. This girl or boy, just as annoying as you. Naruto felt his rage overwhelm as he began running towards Gato, only to be stopped by Kakashi who held the back of his jumpsuit. Naruto. There's too many of them. Naruto directed his ire towards Zabuza. Won't you do anything? He's disrespecting Haku in front of you. Zabuza shrugged, his arms stiff. So? Haku died. So? So? Haku was still your friend, a comrade. There are no real friends in the world of missing nin, child. We are either tools to be used or people who use others as tools, nothing more, nothing else. Haku was a useful tool that I appreciated for his strength. So I will repeat my question. So? Naruto growled in frustration. So, Haku really meant nothing to you in the end? He sacrificed himself for you, and you won't do anything? Just standing there? A long silence enveloped the duo, the thick atmosphere between the two becoming even thicker. Kunai. Zabuza whispered. What? Kunai. Naruto threw his kunai to the demon of the mist immediately after. Zabuza caught the weapon in his mouth. Hee. Emotional. Kill them all, people. Gata yelled. The storm of people yelled as they infiltrated the bridge entirely, the sounds of multiple footsteps and battle cries filling Naruto's ears immediately. Zabuza went to meet them all at once. But Zabuza was a demon. He slashed through everyone using the kunai in his mouth, cutting through the mounds of bandits like scissors on paper. He dodged a dozen swords at once, before knocking into men several feet taller than him. Many bandits fell to the floor, lifeless, as a long gash spread through their necks in mere seconds. But even they were too much for Zabuza. Swords impaled Zabuza's chest as the swarm of men began to overwhelm the one man. But Zabuza still didn't stop. With the relentlessness of a starved lion, he embedded the kunai into Gatu's chest. Zabuza laughed. Ha ha ha, Gatu. I don't care if I die right now, but as long as you're coming with me to hell, I'll be happy. The demon finished the kill in its entirety soon after. Zabuza smiled for the last time in his life. I won't be seeing you any longer, considering you would be going to heaven, Haku. But thank you. Naruto swallowed his throat in apprehension. Cherish the sight of a real man. Naruto, Kakashi said. This was all too much for a recently made genin. Naruto's eyes continued to stay wide as he swallowed all of the events into one session of his memory. Naruto. Sasuke is alive. Naruto's heart quickened as he glanced to his left, seeing the familiar blue-shirt boy raising a hand in greeting. I see. You really were too kind of a person, Haku. Naruto looked back at the bandits with anger. Now these guys deserve to die. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Dash. A day later, Zabuza and Haku's funeral was a quiet event. With only Team 7 and Tazuna present, the burial seemed to be more of a standard process rather than an act of caring, which wasn't very surprising considering the lives the missing nin had held. Living solitary lives, they didn't have many friends to mourn their deaths for them. It was a small memorial site, the largest being the mountain of a sword behind Zabuza's funeral. It's an unfortunate thing, but don't be mistaken. Zabuza wasn't a good person. Nothing he could have done would have changed that, but he did have his heart in the right place in the end. What's even more sad is that you, genin, had to experience a type of mission like this so early in your lives. An A-rank mission. It's fortunate I was your sensei, or else. Thank you, sensei, Sakura said politely. Well, I can't do it all the time. Should we leave now? Sasuke nodded. Naruto looked at the graves before him. I'll come, sensei. Let me just stay here for a bit. Kakashi-sensei raised an eyebrow. You sure? Positive. Your wish. Sasuke, Sakura, let's go. Naruto stayed still for much a while longer as the rest of the team left him behind. There was a particular reason why the blonde stayed behind in the first place, and it wasn't because he wanted to contemplate on the deaths of the duo, no matter how sad it was. The system was telling him something. Ding. New skill achieved. Shadow Extraction, LVL1. Info. Shadow Extraction allows the transformation of dead bodies into shadows which can be recalled at any time for the player to use. Higher the difference in level, the lower the success rate. Higher the time taken after the body died, the lower the success rate. Higher the will of the person to stay in the afterlife, the lower the success rate. Current maximum shadows, 2. What does this mean? I can revive them as shadows? Then came the next question. Who should he revive first? And would it really work? This was the first real ability the system had ever given him, so Naruto was slightly skeptical. Now, who should he go for next? Zabuza or Haku? Eh, it didn't really matter since he had 2 available spots anyways. But were these shadows the actual ones that died earlier? Were they the ninja he had just fought yesterday? Was Haku's sacrifice for nothing if he could have revived her afterwards? Obviously, that wasn't the truth. But Naruto's paranoia quickly took over his senses. The ability gave him the chance to reunite Zabuza and Haku. But what if one of the summonings failed? It was best to check the limits of the ability for now. Considering the system said the higher the level, the harder the extraction became, it would be easy to test out the limits of his own capabilities for now. Naruto went to the gravestone next to Zabuza. His hands were trembling, and his heart rate was at an all-time high. The grave stood painfully still, begging to be called upon, and the sword stood similarity, begging for someone to grasp its stilt once more. Use shadow extraction on Zabuza. Extracting. Extraction failed. What? 2 more chances remaining. Try again. Extracting. Extraction failed. 1 more chance remaining. Naruto needed this to work. Zabuza's death. It wasn't meant to be so disappointing. He needed another chance, whether as a shadow or the real thing. He wouldn't lose now. No matter what it would take, he needed this extraction to summon. Activating. Skill. Will of Fire, LVL1 activated. Skill. Will of Fire, LVL1 has bonus effect of increasing success rate of extraction by 10%. Zabuza, your devotion to the sword is what got you the name Demon of the Mist. Now, show that same devotion to me. The same devotion that Haku served you with. Now, arise. Extracting. Extraction successful. Dark energy erupted from Naruto's body as he felt a rush of power exit his body like water behind a broken dam. The visceral aura flowed directly towards the dead bodies buried under the soil, until finally all of it disappeared into the ground. Then silence. But then the energy started pouring back out relentlessly. Tendrils of liquid shadows slowly began forming out of the grave, pooling into a shadowy mass without any defined shape. But the shadows continued to pool, building and building upon each other, slowly forming a familiar shape. I can't believe it. Naruto's eyes looked at the monstrosity before him. The shadowy mass of Zabuza stared back. Shadow Zabuza, LV1. He looked the same as always, except for the fact that the colors of his clothes were replaced by a shade of black, and his face showed a wispy blue, entirely missing the humane colors he once had. On his back, the giant sword he always used was perched comfortably, every contour of the metal shaded black. A rough scowl was evident even through his bandaged face. Zabuza looked scarier than when he was once alive. Where the hell am I, brat? I re-uploaded this chapter to fix many mistakes in the shadow summoning because my editing wasn't working. So extremely sorry if you've already read this chapter and saw a notification. Uploads are still every Tuesday. Yo, short chapter. But I didn't want to continue the stuff everyone already knows. Wow, Zabuza is a shadow. Didn't see that occurring. Review how you like the reveal, though. Zabuza won't be OP. I saw the reviews for a lot of these chapters and saw many people concerned about the overwhelming progress of Naruto. Again, Naruto will not be OP yet, and that too for a long time. But he will be stronger than canon. Zabuza starts off as level 1, along with other disadvantages Naruto will get in the future. On to the questions. Question 1. Who do you want to see as the second shadow for Naruto? I personally don't want it to be Haku, too much of an easy way out. Question 2. Which Naruto character do you want to see explored the most in this FIC that aren't done much in others? Review your recommendations. Thanks for reading, as always. Update schedule. Every Tuesday, timings may vary. Thanks as always, make sure to review. Any and all criticism is accepted. I read them all. There. Where the hell am I, brat? Zabuza growled in his ghostly form. Naruto briefly flinched in fear before rearing back. It was insanely jarring to see the dead body of Zabuza, a body which he helped bury, back in real life. It only showed the insane capabilities of his system and just how much power was in his hands. I said, where the hell am I? The shadow asked again, irritatingly. Active skill, shadow extraction, LVL1. Info, shadows drain 50 MP every minute. a value which will decrease as level of skill increases. Initial extraction takes 20 MP. 50 MP? That's insane. That means only 2 minutes? Naruto thought incredulously, doing the math in his head. The skill, for now anyways, was insanely underpowered. A mere 2 minutes could decide the difference between a win and a loss in the toughest of times. He understood that, but 2 minutes was still too little. Regardless, Zabuza was a Jonin-level ninja, meaning the 2 minutes would certainly be worth it for now. And it wasn't like he was going to be this low level. If Naruto upgraded his level in shadow extraction, he could certainly decrease the MP drain, which would make the ability a monster to deal with. Naruto waved at the shadow with a trademark grin. Zabuza-san, this is Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki. You know, the blonde kid from earlier. Zabuza glared back. Yeah, I can tell. Now tell me, Naruto Uzumaki, why am I still alive? And more importantly, how? He's a shadow as of now, so there wouldn't be any reason not to tell him of my ability, right? I could also pass it off as a special jutsu of my own. What did Kakashi-sensei call it? A Kekii Genkai? It's my ability, a Kekii Genkai, like Haku had. I can summon the dead in the form of shadows or something. To be honest, it's still a work in progress, like many other things. Naruto deadpanned. Zabuza's eyes widened. You're telling me you can summon the dead? Is this a joke, brat? You're alive right now, so what more proof do you want? How is the afterlife, anyways? Don't make a mockery of this situation. This isn't a normal Kekii Genkai. The amount of things I could do if I had something like this. Zabuza chuckled dangerously. Why did you summon me? I wanted to test the ability on someone, and you happened to die recently, so I did it for you to gauge my current ability, Naruto said. You're telling me this was all a test? A test to see whether you could summon me or not. Why didn't you summon Haku first? The demon of the mist asked, his deep voice taking on a tone of inquiry. I can't give a reason without revealing the levels, can I? What should I do here? You're a lot stronger than Haku, so I wanted to see whether I could summon you or not, pretty much. There, that wasn't too bad. Zabuza nodded in acceptance, before looking at his muscles strangely, before looking at his surroundings curiously. A look of denial spread along his eyes. Naruto observed his behavior. Wah! Zabuza picked up the wide, black sword around his back before swinging it frantically in the air, cleaving through the atmosphere and sending gusts of wind across the fields, shaking the leaves of nearby trees. It was an impressive display of swordsmanship, but both Naruto and Zabuza could notice one thing. Zabuza was weaker. Much, much weaker. Why am I so goddamn slow? Zabuza yelled in frustration, his shadow muscles flexing as he continued his onslaught. Naruto paled in realization of what had happened. The system would never be so nice to him to give him such a promising ability. It would never give him direct access to Jonin-level shinobi with a flick of a wrist. No, the system made him work for that type of power. And in this case, it made the shadow itself work. Shadow Zabuza was much, much weaker than the original. They shared the same appearance, same personality, but different stats altogether. Shadow Zabuza was around Haku's level or so. Thus, the 2 minutes became even more useless. Considering Shadow Zabuza was only level 1 as of now, he needed to level up his shadows and his shadow extraction. Naruto made haste to rectify his mistake. Zabuza, your form right now is much weaker than what you were when you were alive. I'm not so sure as of now, but I believe you will have to train to become stronger again, or else I'm stuck like this for the rest of my life? Zabuza questioned angrily, his eyes smoldering. Naruto chuckled. Technically speaking, you aren't actually alive, so yes. Zabuza lunged at Naruto. Naruto sidestepped, dodging the attack entirely, before sweeping the shadow's legs from underneath him, dropping him to the floor. Naruto immediately unsheathed a kunai from his pocket, before placing it on Zabuza's neck. You aren't a Jonin anymore, just a shadow of mine. Remember that, Naruto whispered gravely. Apply pressure on the solid surface of Zabuza's neck. Naruto felt a giant sword slide to his jugular. The body in front of him dispersed into water. The same trick. The deep, monotone voice of Zabuza rang through his ears. You may not remember, but since you obviously forgot, Let me remind you, one, last time. I'm Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist, and I have no master. Naruto gulped as the gigantic sword left his throat. Now, summon Haku. Naruto looked once last time at the shadow warily, before rubbing his throat to ease the soreness. Note to self, don't piss off the psychopathic swordsman. Ding. 30 MP remaining. Naruto calculated the math in his head again. 1 minute had passed, meaning 50 gone, and the cost of the initial summoning, which was 20. He could still summon Haku. Naruto nodded. All right. Naruto walked up to the grave of Haku in a hurry, eager to get this over with. He probably didn't need to struggle as much as summoning Zabuza, considering the difference of levels between him and Haku wasn't very high in comparison to the difference between him and the Jonin-level shinobi. Maybe 1 or 2 tries. Haku arise. Extracting. Extraction successful. Similar to before, a dam of energy broke from Naruto's body, entering the air and going into Haku's grave. The soil seemed to eat up all of the energy as it dissipated into the grave. Shadows pooled once more, forming the body of Haku that Naruto came to recognize easily. Haku, in all of his feminine grace, appeared fully fledged in his regular clothing, but this time everything was shaded a dark black, and his skin was a peculiar shade of blue. Where am I? Haku asked, staring at Naruto with obvious surprise. Naruto looked around for Zabuza. It would be easier for that man to explain this, after all, but no one was to be seen. Ding. You currently cannot keep more than 1 shadow summoned at a time. Naruto groaned in annoyance. He barely had a minute left. Listen, Haku. So pretty much, here's a summary. I have the Kekkei Genkai to summon the dead from their graves, which I have already done with Zabuza and now you. The bad part is, you are now much weaker than normal, which I think you should be able to tell by now. Zabuza is currently around the level you were at when you were alive, meaning you would be somewhere around Genin level? Probably higher. But yeah, that's it. Naruto finished, panting after the long monologue. He looked at Haku hopefully. Again, where am I? I didn't expect the afterlife to be so colorful. Ding. MP has been completely drained. All MP-related skills and abilities are deactivated. Naruto looked at the empty lands of grass before him. Okay. 2 weeks later. Ding. Quest. Protection of Tizuna. Completed. Rewards. EXP 3000. Class. Necromancer. Given. Title. Messenger of the Dead. Congratulations. You leveled up. Player is now LV8. 2 attribute points gained. New title. Messenger of the Dead achieved. Title. Messenger of the Dead increases the success rate of shadow extraction by 5% and increases all stats by 3% while on missions. Woohoo! Another 2 attribute points for the future Hokage. Naruto smiled happily as he looked through all of his notifications. Things were finally starting to look uphill. On the past few weeks, Naruto had spent most of his time training with Team 7 and helping finish the bridge Tizuna was so hellbent on. And finally, the hard work actually paid off. The bridge, in his honest opinion, looked beautiful. It wasn't too fancy, but managed to display a look of elegance which was fitting for the small town they were in. Tizuna had the look of a proud father as he observed his bridge from afar. I've spent so many decades dreaming about this moment. It's all thanks to you guys this is possible. I can't thank you enough, Tizuna said, tears forming around his eyes. Like I said, Tizuna-san, your amazing hospitality was more than enough as thanks, Kakashi said, bowing. Naruto smiled. It was always nice seeing people do nice things. And you, Tizuna said, directing his smile at Naruto. Me. I can't thank you enough, as well, Naruto, for protecting Tsunami and Inari when it mattered the most. Naruto tried not to roll his eyes. The man has mentioned that same instance more than 100 times by now, and had brought it up every single dinner and every time he was alone with him. Yeah, big bro Naruto is too cool. Inari mentioned from behind Tizuna. Sakura snickered. Big bro Naruto. Huh? You've got fanboys now, Naruto? Hypocritical. Naruto wanted to say, but refrained from doing so. Grandpa, I think we should give a name for the bridge while the ninja are still here. Tizuna laughed. You're right, Inari. How about the Great Naruto Bridge? Naruto smiled as he heard the name, a strange swelling of pride in his heart erupting immediately. But did he really deserve it as much as the others? The Great Zabuza Bridge? Naruto shook his head. The shadow would probably kill him if he did something like that. Sounds great, Kakashi laughed. If that's all, we will be taking our leave, Tazuna-san. Of course, I couldn't keep you guys here any longer. After all, Tazuna answered wholeheartedly. Naruto raised a thumbs up to Inari. I'll visit later on, Inari. By then, you better be a lot stronger. You bet. Inari grinned toothily. Have a safe trip? Tsunami ushered out at last. All of Team 7 felt a gentle tug on their hearts as they finally left the small town they've been in for the last month. Naruto looked at the path ahead of him and groaned. This was going to be an incredibly long trip. Walking wasn't too hard, but the type of food they had to eat was the bare minimum, consisting of energy bars and, most importantly, no ramen. In the 2 weeks since the funeral, Naruto had resisted the urge to summon Zabuza and Haku again. For that, he had several reasons. Firstly, he was 90% sure Zabuza didn't even want to be summoned at this point. Second, he wasn't exactly sure how to deal with Haku. And lastly, the whole shadow business seriously creeped him out. Sure, the necromancy thing looked cool and all, but it was seriously weird when you thought of it from an outside point of view. Summoning the dead to be your companions? Yeah, totally normal. Naruto also felt like he would get a better idea of dealing with the issue back in his home village, Konoha. Wave was cool and all, but it didn't have Ichiraka's ramen, did it? A steamy bowl of soft, chewy noodles and the aroma of miso and pork. Naruto was already salivating. A bowl of Tuchi's ramen will definitely bring me up to speed. Hey Sasuke, last one to the tree over there has to pay for ramen. Naruto began running at full speed. Dash. One more miso ramen. Naruto called out as he dropped another bowl onto the table before him. Sasuke eyed his wallet with widened, disheartened eyes. How much does this guy eat? Irika was just glad he wasn't paying again. So yeah, Irika-sensei, where was I again? Oh right. So we were fighting. Slurp, this guy called Zabuza, and we found out that he was actually just a nice guy in the end. I managed to defeat everyone with a super cool jutsu. Blah blah blah. I saved the whole village. Then they named a bridge after me. Isn't that cool? Irika nodded in acceptance, not believing half of the things coming from Naruto's throat. Naruto finished another bowl and patted his belly in appreciation. That's enough for now. Okay, Sasuke. I'm done with eating. Sasuke sighed with relief. Oh, then I'll take my leave. Now, you have to train me, Naruto declared. An awkward silence filled the ramen shop. Train? Sasuke questioned. Remember the jutsu you owe me? Yes. Naruto cheered inwardly. A jutsu from Sasuke, and hopefully an effective one. Ever since the fight with Haku and Zabuza, Naruto had realized just how limited and short his jutsu range was, consisting primarily of the Shadow Clone and the Academy 3. They were useful in their own subtle ways, but the blonde needed something more flashy, something that would do damage. Naruto looked at Sasuke triumphantly. Which jutsu will you be able to teach? Sasuke morphed his face into a thinking pose. I don't really want to teach him anything, but considering it was a bet, I'll guess I'll have to. How about? Fine, I'll teach you something. Come to Training Ground 46 by tomorrow morning, around 6 or so. It's normally empty by that time, I believe. Naruto grinned. You got it. Now, which jutsu? Sasuke was gone. The blonde waved goodbye to Tuchi, Ayam, and Irika before going on the usual route to his apartment. The route which generally avoided most crowded areas, using the alleyways littered around Konoha. The second Naruto reached his apartment, he jumped onto his couch tiredly. It had been a long month, but certainly not without its own benefits. Open. Name: Naruto Uzumaki. Title: The Gamer. Occupation: Genin of Konoha. Level: LV8. HP: 100 out of 100. MP: 100 out of 100. Chakra: 2000/2000. STR: 7. Vit: 10. Dex: 6. Int: 5. Wis: 4. Luck: 1. Current skills. Shadow Clone Jutsu LVL 3. Shadow Extraction LVL 1. Class. Necromancer. Attribute points. 2. I'm facing this dilemma a lot more these days, but I guess that's a good thing. What should I add? Naruto thought to himself. The blonde felt as if it was better to not stress over the specifics of each point for once, and just add them where he thought it was best. Add to dexterity and luck. Attribute point has been used. Dexterity has been increased by 1 point. Attribute point has been used. Luck has been increased by 1 point. I'm bored. I guess it's time to summon one of them. Who should it be? Naruto thought of his previous encounter with Zabuza and shivered. Yep, it was best he went with Haku. Maybe fill her in with where he was right now. Summon Shadow Haku. Darkness moved like water itself, the cohesive matter combining together to form the shadow. So it wasn't a dream? Haku asked with a raised eyebrow. Naruto rolled his eyes. Hello, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the person who summoned you from the dead. You are currently in Konoha, the hidden leaf village. So this is the land where the Hokage resides. Interesting. And why have you summoned me, Naruto-san? Haku asked, eyeing his surroundings. Naruto put his legs on the top of his couch. I was bored. So you summoned me, a dead shadow, to alleviate your boredom? Something like that. That doesn't sound like such a great idea and afterthought, does it? Yeah, it doesn't. Naruto didn't like that he was being patronized by the dead. It was either you, or clones, and I prefer not talking to myself. Or Zabuza, of course, but I prefer not talking to him even more. Haku nodded in understanding, before walking around trying to investigate the place. This is quite the magnificent house. Are you quite rich, Naruto-san? Naruto couldn't help it. He laughed out loud. Maybe it was the right decision to summon you. Haku cocked his head. Naruto shook his head. Listen, I don't have much time at all to talk with you, considering a minute has already passed by now. But for now, this much is fine. Just so you know, I won't be summoning you or Zabuza too much, and only when you're really needed or during times like now. I actually can't have others knowing about your presence, you understand? Haku nodded, and then bowed. I understand, Naruto-san. For now, I'll take my leave. How exactly do I do that? Please let this work. Dissipate, Haku. Haku's body rapidly became smaller and smaller as the massive shadows turned into nothingness. Quite an eventful day, Naruto thought, yawning. The next morning, Naruto woke up to the ringing of his alarm right next to his ear, groaning and moaning in distress as the sound interrupted his precious sleep. He was about to go to sleep again before his mind seemed to directly speak to him. Sasuke's going to train you a jutsu. With that, his mind sparked into overdrive. Naruto quickly brushed his teeth, showered, wore a new jumpsuit, and put on his sandals. He double-checked his ninja gear, filled his utility bag with some protein bars as breakfast, and made his way towards the intended training ground. The numerous open fields were hard to distinguish, but Naruto managed to make his way through. Training Ground 46. The large, open expanse of grass was perfect for training, Naruto realized, as he made his way through the ground. Hey! Naruto shrieked as he heard Sasuke's voice from behind him. He placed a hand on his heart in an effort to cool himself down. Yo! Naruto responded. I don't have too much time, so let's get this over with quickly. I'll give you the hand signs and some basic tips, but that's pretty much it, Sasuke said, unloading his bag onto the surface of the ground. What jutsu are we learning exactly? Naruto asked curiously. Oh, I didn't tell you yet? You've probably seen me do this a lot during training or fights. Fire release. Fireball jutsu. I take everything back. Sasuke is literally too cool, Naruto said with stargazed eyes. Do you need a demonstration? Sasuke asked. No. I need to learn this as fast as possible. Databeo? Are there any hand signs? Sasuke grunted in confirmation. Of course. There are 6 hand signs normally, but others with higher chakra control like Kakashi-sensei said can convert it into 4 or so. For now, we will just learn the 6. The seals in succession are snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger. Snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger. Remember those, remember those. Sasuke tossed him a scroll of sorts, the paper fluttering as it reached his hands. Here, all the hand formations are given in this. I don't really expect you to learn it in a week, since this jutsu is a bit of a speciality of the Uchiha clan. But try your best. And also, consider my debt finished. Of course. Naruto yelled in appreciation. Any tips? Sasuke rolled his eyes. Achin, first of all, do you know how this jutsu works? Obviously. The shinobi using the jutsu just stirred up some chakra in their stomachs and released it using. Not exactly, Naruto admitted ashamedly. Sasuke frowned slightly, his eyebrows tensing. How am I going to do this fine? Think of it like this. A fireball jutsu isn't just made of fire, it's chakra that was turned into fire. And where does that chakra come from? From us. Achin. So the first step is to mold the chakra in your core into fire, and then release that chakra from your mouth. Naruto nodded in understanding. So why do you put your fingers in front of your mouth like that? It's easier to direct the fire where you want it to go. I see. Naruto began going through the hand seals, his hands moving tremendously slow, but accurate nonetheless. He thanked his younger self for remembering each and every seal after failing to summon a clone for the 30th time. Snake, ram, boar, horse, tiger. Naruto felt the chakra in his stomach churn and tumble around like a wild animal stuck in a cage, and molded it to become hotter and attain the aspects of fire. He expanded and expanded in his stomach, his tummy feeling quite warm internally. Something's coming up. Naruto opened his mouth wide as he placed bent fingers in front of his mouth. Fire release, fireball jutsu. A small trickle of flame left his mouth. Sasuke smirked. It's not tree climbing to get it on the first try, dope. You better believe it will take a lot longer than that. Naruto chuckled inwardly. Truthfully, he didn't expect any spectacular result to begin with, but it was still disappointing regardless. OSU, 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 OSU. Naruto's ears twitched as he heard a foreign sound. Sasuke looked around himself in a similar fashion. Do you hear that? Naruto asked. Of course I can, dope. Naruto strained his ears even further. What the hell is it? It sounds like a chipmunk or something. The sound got even louder. It wasn't a chipmunk or any animal like that. It was a person? Probably a teenager like them, considering the higher pitch of the voice. Yes, Lee. Allow the fountain of your youth to spill all over Konoha. Yes, sensei. To be more exact, it was two people, one taller and the other around their height. Most peculiarly, both of them seemed to be wearing some sort of green spandex. Naruto walked over to the spectacle, curious to see what exactly was happening. What he saw was more than shocking. The kid of their size, presumably Lee, was walking with his fingers, with one hand crossed behind his back and the other protruding only his thumb and pointer finger, did a walking handstand. Were those weights on his legs? And who are you fine, young gentleman? Naruto looked into the dazzling eyes of the older man, further shocked by how shiny his teeth were. Are they even real? I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and he's Sasuke Uchiha. We're part of Team 7. Oh, Kakashi's kids. As expected from my rival, making his team exercise this early in the morning. I don't think it's worth telling him the truth. Naruto's sweat dropped. The teen stopped doing his exercise. Sasuke? Sasuke Uchiha? Sasuke dully looked at the other boy. Yes, the boy, presumably the son of the other man, grinned in a way eerily familiar to his sensei. I'm Rock Lee, and I must challenge the both of you to a duel. I have re-uploaded this chapter, as once again, my editing isn't working. If someone knows how to fix it, please tell me. Until then, you'll be seeing the primary new chapter every Tuesday as always, and a secondary update Friday through Saturday. I fixed a lot of issues and added some dialogues, but it's not required to read through them. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yo, interesting chapter. Kinda short, but oh well. Next chapter will include the duel between the teams, sorta. Will Naruto copy Lee's taijutsu? Wait and see. A duel? Sasuke repeated incredulously. Of course. Lee exclaimed just as brightly. Naruto felt more and more out of place with every second he stood in the presence of the green duo. Who in their right mind would ask for a duel right after meeting someone? That sounds like something I would have done, to be fair. Naruto admitted reluctantly. Lee, the older man, practically shouted, making Naruto flinch reactively. Yes, Guy-sensei. Guy? Strange name. What did I tell you about challenging people to a duel immediately? Naruto sighed in relief. Finally, someone with actual common sense. Lee dramatically pointed a finger to the sky. Never forget to say please. What the? Naruto whispered in shock. And what exactly have you done in this instance? Guy asked vaguely as if he were giving some sort of divine knowledge to his student. I didn't say please, sensei. Lee said frantically. What the hell is going on? Wait, are those tears in his eyes? I sincerely apologize, sensei. As a punishment, I will run 1,000 rounds around Konoha. That's not too bad, right? Naruto thought, conscious of his own ability. It would take an absurd amount of time, but it was certainly doable. Considering the fact that Naruto himself had insane stamina, the punishment would certainly be easy to replicate. But Lee had never stopped talking. Blindfolded, Naruto looked to the left, meeting Sasuke's eyes. Naruto couldn't tell if the Uchiha was awed or just flabbergasted by what he saw. Personally, Naruto felt both. Although he didn't really see any purpose in running around Konoha blindfolded, neither could Lee, for that matter. He had to admit it was impressive for the boy to do such a feat, regardless of the reason. Naruto had been pranking the village since he was a youth, but even he hadn't memorized the correct routes around the entire village. Guy grinned widely. Your youth is as vibrant as the morning sun. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Naruto took a step back in horror as the newcomers began hugging each other earnestly. What was he even watching? Sasuke took a similar stance, as he attempted to excuse himself from the conversation entirely. Guy coughed loudly. I apologize. It seems I haven't introduced myself, or Lee here, yet. Indeed, Sasuke drawled. I'm the sensei of Lee here and 2 others. Together, we make up Team Guy. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Guy exclaimed, striking a dramatic pose at the same time. So they are a shinobi team like us? Now it makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? They must be from one the years before us, then. Naruto realized with a nod. I believe Kakashi has told you too about me? Guy asked, smirking. No, Sasuke said bluntly. Guy recoiled, as if he were struck. Am I still not worth the acknowledgement of my dearest rival? I will have to train to solve this issue. Are these guys serious? I need to check their stats. Naruto started with Lee first, finding it better to see where he compared with other genin in Konoha. Observing. Observation successful. Name, Rock Lee. Title, Prince of Taijutsu. Occupation, genin of Konoha. Level, LV 19. HP, 100 out of 100. MP, 100 out of 100. Chakra, 10 out of 10. STR, 15. Vit, 16. Dex, 20. Int, 4. Wis, 3. Luck, 2. Naruto looked over Lee's stats with shock, instantly noticing just how high level he was. Level 19 and just a genin? He was at a higher level than Haku or Sasuke. Just how much of a monster was this guy? Naruto's eyes skipped past the next section before he went to the actual stats. He tried not to faint in that second itself. Lee's stats were something he had never seen before. It was almost unfair to compare them to someone like Naruto or Sasuke, and Kami forbid, someone like Sakura. 15 in strength, 16 in vitality, and 20 in dexterity? Just how strong is this guy? Naruto couldn't even hope to reach those types of stats soon, let alone ever. But that was also an exaggeration, fortunately. His progression seemed to rely on the quests he received, a completely unpredictable factor that he couldn't actually control. Imagining having to increase those stats by pure training and to the level Lee had done, he shivered. How much training did Lee have to go through to reach such a state? But then Naruto noticed both his chakra and title. Only 10 chakra? Huh. It suddenly made sense why Lee was called the Prince of Taijutsu and why his stats seemed to be so focused on the strength of his body. Lee most likely had abnormally low chakra reserves, forcing him to focus on the incredibly demanding art of taijutsu. Naruto frowned in sympathy. He looked at Guy before conducting another observation, but the result was very, very predictable. Observing. Observation failed. Target's level is too high. Would player like a partial observation? Yes/no. Yes. Naruto recited, not even surprised at that point. Name, Might Guy. Title, King of Taijutsu. Occupation, Jonin Sensei. Level, HP, 100 out of 100. MP, 100 out of 100. Chakra, STR, Vit, Dex, Int, Whis, Luck. Naruto found a newfound respect for the comedic duo in front of him. And for a good reason as well. He was in front of royalty, after all. Alright then, I believe introductions are over with. Lee, didn't you want to fight with Sasuke? Naruto asked enthusiastically, wanting to see the boy fight with his own eyes. HN, we could spar. I've wanted to see how much I improved. Anyway, Sasuke declared, smirking. Naruto knew Sasuke was going to lose. It was practically inevitable at this point. The level system wasn't always accurate, especially considering Naruto's own stats, where specifics like his own level were remarkably low. But during fights, the higher-leveled opponent usually stole the win, unless it was through a spout of genius or power that the lower level managed to gain the victory. Case in example being his own victory over Haku, where the Kyuubi's chakra helped him a lot. And here, considering Lee's own overwhelming agility and strength, there was no way for Sasuke to win, unless his teammate had been hiding a secret jutsu from him for a while. But Naruto didn't care about that. He just wanted to see whether he could copy Lee's taijutsu or not. Lee raised his bushy eyebrows confusedly before they settled back down in realization. Oh, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, Sasuke-san. I meant to ask whether I could spar both of you at the same time. Naruto blinked. Sasuke gritted his teeth in anger. Am I seriously being looked down upon by this kid? Lee. Guy snapped. Of course, I meant no disrespect to any of you. Lee quickly corrected. I forgot to mention, but taijutsu is kind of my specialty, so it wouldn't really be fair to go one-on-one. And how would you think that without knowing my own capabilities, first? Sasuke asked, his voice low but obviously irritated. Ah, is taijutsu a specialty for you as well, Sasuke-san? We must fight at once. Lee insisted, his eyes firing up with determination. Lee got into position. You are allowed to use any jutsu you wish. But the other rules of a standard duel do apply. Naruto observed Lee's stance with interest, finding the boy's initial move to be quite the peculiar one. With one hand behind his back, and the other pushed forward as if he was inviting Sasuke to come to attack him, it almost seemed like Lee was purposefully leaving holes in his own defense. Now, how did I copy Sasuke's taijutsu last time? Naruto thought to himself. Previously, the system had automatically given him the option to take Sasuke's taijutsu for his own and didn't actually apply any skill to do so. This meant Naruto was at the short end of the stick for his idea to work. You all seem fired up, Guy said excitedly. I'll count both of you down. 3, 2, 1. Go. Sasuke rushed forward as Lee continued to stay still, unwavering despite the Uchiha's push forward. The raven-haired genin launched a wide kick at nothing. Lee was already gone. Sasuke gasped as a stinging pain erupted in his back, where Lee kicked him from behind. How will I be able to copy Lee's taijutsu if I can't even see it? And if Naruto could not see Lee's movements from the sidelines, how would Sasuke see them? Sasuke leaped backward across the field, trying to find some space to recover and think. But he did not even get the time to do that. The second he let his guard open, Lee flew across open grass with a whirling kick towards his opponent, a kick which was luckily dodged by the target. Sasuke huffed and puffed as he dodged another onslaught of kicks and punches from the green-clad genin. He still had not delivered a single hit on the boy. This guy, he's a monster. Fire release, fireball jutsu, Sasuke announced in response to the speeding Lee. His hands went through the signs with casual and practiced ease, finally transforming the work of his body and chakra into a spewing ball of flames, which flew towards the boy with great speed, scorching the earth below it as it traveled. Lee leaped over the flames, burning the tips of his green spandex in the process and leaving his pale skin bare to the morning wind. Then the attack continued. Taijutsu versus taijutsu. And other than the king himself, no one beat the prince in hand-to-hand combat. It was a technical battle, with each fist and kick made after great thought, but it was also done at a pace that made Naruto concentrate to see what was happening. Lee's taijutsu was fluid and filled with agile movements and such, but each punch and kick was filled with such intensity that made it plainly obvious just how much Lee had practiced each move. Sasuke did not have such intensity at his disposal, but he definitely did have something else. The sharingan. I was going to save this until later, but here goes nothing. Sasuke thought with a grimace. Sasuke's eyes suddenly became scarlet red as two tomo circled the pupil rapidly. Guy narrowed his eyes at the move. There it is. The jewel of the Uchiha clan. It doesn't take a genius to see why Kakashi was given the huge responsibility to train the last Uchiha. After fighting alongside Kakashi so many times, I'm not unaware of the abilities it gives the user, but will that be enough for Sasuke to beat young Lee? Naruto looked at the mysterious ability with awe. He still had no idea what it did other than it helped Kakashi copy a few of Zabuza's jutsus, but that was all. It was a Kekkei Jinkai unique to the Uchiha, and a jutsu that somehow Kakashi managed to have. But the effect was clear. Sasuke suddenly became faster. No, he wasn't physically faster, he was just predicting Lee's movements at a quicker rate. It was very beneficial for Naruto, who was finally able to actually observe the two fights from each kick to punch. Before, Lee controlled the entire pace of the bout, but now, Sasuke held a hand in the pace as well. He tried to note down each and every hit of Lee's, the way he dodged Sasuke's hook, and even the way he moved in response to Sasuke. Scanning. Yes, it worked. Naruto thought gleefully. It would probably take time for scanning to complete, so until then, Naruto just waited peacefully for the fight to end and Sasuke to lose, which was a result that was inevitable at this point. But Naruto wasn't even allowed to do that. A cold, but respectful voice sounded out from behind the blonde. Guy-sensei. Another voice, more feminine and a lot warmer, was heard a second later, repeating the exact same thing. Naruto turned around to see two teenagers around his age, but taller, walk up to him. The boy looked distinctly familiar, but the blonde could not remember for dear life who he looked like or where he had seen him. He wore a beige shirt, strapped up, and dark brown shorts which left his lower legs bare. He also seemed to have brown, long hair, which wasn't too unusual unlike Naruto's bright blonde. But the most distinct feature seemed to be his eyes. The entirety of both his eyes were pale. Just like Hinata, Naruto realized with a dawning expression on his face. That was where he recognized the boy from. Him and Hinata had to be related, considering their familiar facial features and more specifically, the undistinguishable eyes. Is it a Kekkei Jinkai like Sasuke's own? Naruto thought questioningly. He had never seen anyone other than whichever clan Hinata was from. The Hyuga? Yeah, the Hyuga clan. The other person was a girl of medium stature, but her presence was quite intimidating. Not because of her face or aura, but because of the huge bow staff on her back. With her pick blouse and hair tied into a bun, the girl seemed pretty nice. Naruto began to introduce himself while closing the distance between them. Hello, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, Genin of Team 7. I'm Tenten, Genin of Team Guy, and he's Neji Hyuga, also a member of the same team, Tenten said, motioning to the boy beside him. Hyuga, right? Do you know Hinata Hyuga by any chance? Naruto inquired earnestly. Neji eyed him with zero emotion. Edgy. Naruto thought of the one word popping into his head. Hinata Hyuga? No, I don't know her, Neji monotoned. Okay. At least he answered my question, even though it definitely sounded like a lie. And who is fighting Lee, currently? Neji asked, looking straight ahead at the continuing fight before them. Sasuke struggled to keep going, his legs almost giving out as another leg sweep managed to make contact. How much longer? Naruto just winced. At this point, Lee was toying with Sasuke, but he answered Neji's question, regardless. My teammate, Sasuke Uchiha, is fighting against yours. Tenten's ears perked. Sasuke Uchiha? Neji snorted. A failure fighting against another failure. Lee is just wasting his time, like usual. The hell is wrong with this guy? Maybe he could see a random person walking by who might say something like that, but your own teammates? If Sakura or Sasuke had said something to him, Naruto clenched his fists. How are either Lee or Sasuke failures? Naruto asked, vexed at the attitude of the Hyuga. He just couldn't understand how anyone could think that way, and for some reason it seriously angered him. Maybe because Niji's attitude was against his core beliefs as a shinobi. Tintin chose wisely and stayed silent. A year of fighting and training alongside the Hyuga had made her knowledgeable of the way he thought, more than she wanted, to be honest. Niji wasn't a bad person per se, but neither was he nice. The difference between a genius and a regular shinobi is a clear one, and neither Lee or Sasuke are geniuses. The latter may have been one, but clearly isn't anymore. Considering he's losing to Lee of all people, Naruto couldn't even believe what the Hyuga was saying. And so are you a genius? Can you defeat Lee? Naruto asked loudly. Of course. I've done it many times. No matter how much effort or hard work Lee puts in, he can never defeat me. Him and I are living proof of the disparity between geniuses and others, Niji said confidently, stretching his legs while he spoke. Naruto just couldn't find it in himself to believe people like this even existed to begin with. Geniuses? Disparity? Who even believed in those things? I'm not a genius or anything, Niji, but I still believe I would whoop you with an eye closed if I wanted to, Naruto said, letting some cockiness seep into his voice. Who knows, maybe Naruto could defeat the Hyuga with an eye closed. Observe. Name, Niji Hyuga. Title, not applicable. Occupation, Genin of Konoha. Level, LV19. HP, 100 out of 100. MP, 100 out of 100. Chakra, 200 out of 200. STR, 13. Vit, 14. Dex, 15. Int, 7. Wis, 5. Luck, 3. Goddamn. Never mind. Naruto thought bitterly. But that wouldn't stop Naruto from asking what he wanted to do next. You wouldn't mind a spar, would you? Naruto asked coolly. Niji answered without any hesitation. There's no point in sparring someone much weaker than me. Are you sure you aren't scared that your theory is false? If Sasuke and Lee of all people are failures, I would be considered one as well, no? Naruto asked, trying to irk Niji's pride in one go. If the raising of Niji's eyebrows was to go by anything, it definitely worked. Niji quickly got into position, a stance which was widely different from both Lee's or Sasuke's. He had his palms open? Whatever. I didn't plan on wasting any energy before my training, but considering the minimal amount I'd be using, it's perfectly fine. This cocky bastard. Naruto thought angrily. He couldn't wait to wipe it out of his face. He activated his Uchiha clan, Taijutsu, and made his way towards the still Hyuga. He wouldn't let anyone say such words and live to tell the tale. But then someone caught his punch. Naruto looked up to the eyes of their sensei. Guy smiled at Naruto, his face apologetic. I'm sorry, Naruto-san, but I can't allow this fight to happen. Naruto didn't really care about that. He was just annoyed at how easily Guy managed to stop him. The word easily referring to the fact that Guy literally just put an open palm up, caught his fist, and didn't even flinch at the large amount of pressure. Why so? Isn't sparring an act of youthfulness? Naruto asked sarcastically. It is, surely. But sparring while a teammate is in need of help isn't very youthful, is it? Naruto looked towards his right in panic. Sasuke was on his knees, no more energy remaining in his body, as he tried not to fall backwards onto the soft embrace of the grass. Naruto jogged over to where he was, but didn't try to spark any conversation. He could tell what Sasuke was feeling at that very moment. Naruto himself had felt it many times, after all. The thought that you could never beat an opponent, no matter how hard you tried, that the gap between you two was completely unavoidable. It was depressing to think about. I'm sorry, Naruto-san, but your teammate refused to end the fight no matter how many times I tried to do so, Lee said, bowing. It's fine, Naruto forced out of his scowling face. Guy spoke out afterwards. I'm sure you and Niji can spar it out in the Chunin exams. Naruto-san, the Chunin exams? Ding. New quest. Schooling the Hyuga created. Quest details. Defeat Niji during the Chunin exams. Quest rewards. EXP 2500. Learn the Hyuga Taijutsu style and increase Taijutsu level by 2. Failure. Become a so-called failure. Does player accept the quest? Yes/no. Yes. Of course yes. Naruto responded to the system, smiling. Listen here, Niji. The blonde proclaimed to the Hyuga. Naruto continued. I'll be the one to defeat you during the Chunin exams or whatever, so don't lose to anyone else before me, you got it? And earn that sweet experience. Niji shook his head, chuckling. You and your empty talk. Fine then. Prove to me, Naruto Uzumaki, that failures can defy destiny. Naruto supported Sasuke to his feet, carrying his weight as the Uchiha leaned his body against his teammate's shoulder. He looked back one last time. Activating. Skill. Will of Fire, LVL1 activated. Defy destiny? I'll do much more than that. Pale eyes. Destiny is just another word for losers like you who can't admit their own defeat. I'll make my own path, my own destiny, regardless of the situation. That's my ninja way. Yes, that's it. Naruto thought to himself. I won't let anyone trample my own path to becoming Hokage. Not Niji, Lee, or anyone. Skill. Will of Fire has increased by a level. Will of Fire is now LVL2. Info. Will of Fire, when used effectively, can increase the morale of comrades. It is considerably more effective when used near lesser-ranked shinobi. Sorry, Naruto, but you're gonna do a lot more than that to beat Niji. We're in another league. Tintin butted in. When did I ask for your opinion, Miss Fangirl? Naruto asked bluntly. Naruto left with Sasuke before Tintin could retort. That guy seriously gets on my nerves. Tintin gritted out before bringing out her staff to practice. Lee chuckled nervously. I'm sure it was just a joke. Guy-sensei laughed heartily. It will be good to see your progression, Naruto. The fourth would definitely be proud. It was another morning, and another day. A day since Naruto met Team Guy, and a day since Sasuke was absolutely destroyed by Lee. The difference in Sasuke's behavior was obvious, and it was starting to get on Naruto's nerves. Where was the cocky, annoying bastard who used to challenge Naruto and everything? Naruto missed the old Sasuke, but he also didn't have the heart in him to say anything towards the Uchiha either. Scanning complete. Does player wish to learn Goken Taijutsu? Yes/no. Goken? Is that what it's called? Yes, please. Naruto had been waiting forever for the scanning to finish, but it had taken much longer than he had anticipated. If he remembered correctly, the scanning of the Uchiha clan's taijutsu had barely taken a minute. But it sort of made sense, considering the relative complexities of both taijutsu styles. It seemed the stronger or more advanced the taijutsu was, the longer it took to scan. Error. What is that? Naruto thought bewilderedly. He had never seen a message like that from the system before. It was usually the regular ding, or something similar. Your taijutsu level is currently too low to learn the Goken Taijutsu style. Do you wish to archive the Goken Taijutsu style? Yes/no. Of course. I knew things were going too well for me to automatically learn Lee's taijutsu. Whatever, it's not like I needed it in the first place. What does archive mean? Yes. Archiving. Archive successful. Naruto looked at his stats miserably. He needed to upgrade his taijutsu level, or else more opportunities would be missed in the future. But the system was seriously making it hard for him. It gave him a quest for the Chunin exams? Exams which certainly weren't going to be conducted anytime soon? Naruto sighed as he directed his focus back to the real world around him. So you're telling me you and Sasuke fought against Team Guy, and were utterly outmatched? Kakashi asked casually, flipping a page of his book. Naruto nodded sadly. Yes. And you proceeded to challenge one of them to a duel in the Chunin exams, which I haven't even decided yet to put you in? Yes. It was to be expected, of course. They have been genin for a year at least, while you guys haven't had much experience in general. And considering Guy is their sensei, they certainly would have some form of expertise in the taijutsu area. Sasuke stayed silent. Kakashi noticed Sasuke's gloominess. Sasuke, don't be so disheartened. It's only obvious that Lee would defeat you. There's always someone stronger than you at the present moment. But the real difference between a strong shinobi and a weak one is what they do to overcome their own weaknesses. What do we do, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked curiously. Kakashi did his signature eye smile. Train. Naruto groaned. The type of training Kakashi had put them through till now was basic drills and formations, and was not something the hyperactive ninja was keen to continue. Their sensei shook his head knowingly. Don't worry. It's not just any type of training. It will be a one-on-one coaching session with each of you. How will you train us all one-on-one at the same time? Naruto asked, confused. Kakashi laughed. I would have thought you would be able to find out, Naruto. The Jonin placed his hands in a very, very familiar position, one which Naruto was very intimate with. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2 clones of Kakashi appeared out of thin air, or more specifically, chakra. The original Kakashi ordered around his doppelgangers. One clone will take Naruto, and the other will take Sakura. So Sasuke gets the original? Naruto asked incredulously. Don't whine, Naruto. Sasuke has the skill set closest to my own, and it would be more helpful to teach him personally for now. And it's not like my clones don't have the same knowledge that I do, Kakashi mentioned, wiggling his finger. Whatever. Come on, clone, Naruto said dejectedly, walking towards the corner of the training field. The other clone went along with Sakura to the opposite side of the field at the same time. Hey, kids these days, always so impatient, Kakashi said, shutting his book and throwing a look at Sasuke. Sasuke stared back, motionless. Kakashi's voice suddenly tightened. I'll be teaching you some important things. But before that, I think it's time for us to talk. With Sakura. Sensei, what exactly are you going to teach me? Sakura asked. The clone scratched his white hair, in a manner of aloofness. The truth is, your skill set and my skill set are most likely the farthest apart in terms of similarity. So for now, it's going to be sheer taijutsu training. Sakura groaned loudly. Kakashi's clone brought out his book. Come on, Sakura. We can't have you flapping around like usual if I happen to submit you guys into the Chunin exams. Can we? Sakura snorted. As if. With Naruto. You wanted to learn a jutsu, right? Kakashi asked the blonde. Naruto nodded. Yes. The clone clapped his hands together. All right. Then I know what we're going to do. We need to check what your elemental affinity is. The genin strained his ears. Elemental what? Affinity. It's basically which element your chakra is most attuned to. For example, my elemental affinity is lighting. Therefore, I can learn lightning jutsus at a much faster rate. It's useful to know before you start learning actual jutsus, so you can focus on a specific element at first and not waste your time trying to learn something else. Understand? It was basic enough, so Naruto didn't really have any trouble understanding his sensei. So whichever affinity he got, it would be more beneficial to learn jutsus from that element to begin with. Would have been useful to know that before Sasuke taught her that fire jutsu. Naruto complained in his head. So I won't be able to do jutsus which I'm not compatible with? Naruto asked, anxious of the answer. No, not exactly. Case in point, me. I'm known for copying 1,000 jutsus, but each of them aren't lightning releases, are they? It's just easier for those with the corresponding affinity to learn the jutsu, and also more effective chakra-wise. I see. How exactly do we test for my affinity? Kakashi put a hand into his pocket. I had the original give me this before we left. His hand came up, revealing it to be a piece of paper. Before you ask, it's not just any type of paper. It's chakra paper, and has the ability to find out which type of affinity a shinobi has. Let me show you a demonstration. When I pour my chakra through here, the paper wrinkled in an instant with a satisfying crunch. A wrinkle in the paper means it's a lightning affinity. Likewise, for fire the paper will ignite. For wind, the paper splits into two. The paper crumbles for earth, and becomes wet for water. That's so cool. Naruto gushed, eyes glazed with excitement. The clone tried not to laugh. Now you try. Naruto reached for the chakra paper eagerly, taking it from Kakashi's gasp. He held it in his hand with wide eyes, before putting it between his fingers. He carefully pumped his chakra through the paper, waiting for something to happen. Ding! Chakra paper detected. You will be allowed to choose your own affinity. Select one of the below. Fire, wind, lightning, earth, water. Select? Naruto questioned, completely bewildered. Choose wisely. Underscore. Yo. The support is awesome as always. Drop a follow and favorite if you want to see more of my story. It really helps me write more. Like seriously. Ding. Chakra paper detected. You will be allowed to choose your own affinity. Select one of the below. Fire, wind, lightning, earth, water. Choose wisely. How am I supposed to choose so suddenly? Naruto thought with raised eyebrows. Why is it even giving me the option in the first place? Naruto raised his eyes to the expectant look on Kakashi's face, whatever amount was visible, and looked down immediately afterward. What's wrong? Kakashi asked curiously, folding his arms together. Hee. I'm nervous, you know? Naruto exclaimed, trying to sound as timid as possible. For what? It's not like whichever element you get decides your future or something. Oh wait, it kind of does. Kakashi chuckled. Take your time. I guess I'll read in the meanwhile, but I must say, it isn't like you to be so slitting about these types of things. Normally, you would be jumping up and about to find your affinity, isn't that so? Naruto mentally face-bombed, before looking back at his system. Leave it to Kakashi to be so observant around these things. He genuinely didn't know what to pick, but maybe he could try and fish out an answer from Kakashi? Don't worry, Kakashi-sensei. It's just that I don't want to get a lame affinity like Earth or something, so I'm sort of anxious right now. Naruto bluffed, trying to give a valid reason for whatever he was doing. I wouldn't underestimate any element, Naruto. Often, it's the surrounding and the opponent we face against that chooses the effectiveness of an element. Yeah, that makes sense. When he had fought Haku and Zabuza, using jutsus like fire would be practically useless against the water behemoths they created with the hand signs they spun through. So no direct answer from Kakashi on what element I should pick. Naruto wrapped a hand around his head as he began to focus. The big question still remained unanswered. Which element should Naruto realistically pick? He had already taken an absurd amount of time just to fuel some chakra to the paper, and any longer Kakashi would get suspicious. Not that it really mattered, of course, but it was still awkward, to say the least. I should go through all the elements one by one, and by the process of elimination, pick the ideal element. Naruto declared to himself, nodding in satisfaction at the idea. First was fire. It was a valid choice, and certainly the most flashy one. Naruto was sure that selecting fire would increase his firepower a lot, both literally and figuratively, but he was afraid of the flexibility of using such an element. So far, all the opponents he had faced were water users, making Naruto wary of the element in general. Though, it would help me learn Sasuke's jutsu. Next was wind. Naruto wasn't sure what to think of this one. He had never seen anyone use a wind jutsu of any kind, so he couldn't really accurately gauge the strength and weaknesses of such an element. Might be best to cross this out for now. Lightning. It looked promising. Probably the coolest one out of them all. Considering it was Kakashi's own element, it would be useful in the training aspect. Earth? Nope. Never. Naruto personally didn't see the appeal of Earth-style jutsus. Not that he was trying to downplay their role, but again, he never really saw them in action. Unless he counted the jutsu where Kakashi came from underneath the ground to surprise him, but that was just a sneak peek of its potential. Then came water. Clearly, this was the most valid choice present. Naruto had seen the true potential of water jutsus when Zabuza and Kakashi fought for the first time, which was a very eye-opening experience for the genin. The flexibility and ferociousness of water was completely on display during the matchup, which seemed to matter a lot more now during his decision. But the main factor influencing his decision was certainly the training factor. While lightning gave him the option to get training from Kakashi, the jonin was only one man, and rarely had the time to solely focus on jutsus. However, Zabuza and Haku, whose summoning was on the tip of Naruto's fingers, could train him much more easily. Considering both their aptitude in the element of water, there was no better option. That's it. My mind is set. Naruto took a deep breath, pinching the paper tightly. I choose water. You have chosen. Congratulations. Your elemental affinity is water. Info, +5 stats when using water-style jutsus, plus 25% chakra efficiency when using water-style jutsus. Naruto felt water creep along the side of his fingers as the chakra paper turned wet in response to his chakra. Kakashi let out a grunt of surprise. You've finally done it, huh? Water? Can't say I expected that, to be honest. Yeah, me neither. Kakashi closed his book with a resounding snap. You know how jutsus work, right? We bring chakra out of our core and manipulate to our needs, creating what we know as jutsus. Naruto hummed in agreement. Yep, that's obvious enough. Well, this is where it gets a bit tougher. Nature transformation. Have you ever heard of it? Naruto suddenly felt like he was being pulled into a new world of knowledge and training. Oh no. Ding. New title. Stormbringer achieved. Title, Stormbringer gives plus 15% chakra efficiency when using both water-style jutsus and lightning-style jutsus, along with increasing all other stats by 5%. What? This title. It has to be the strongest one yet. 5% increase in all of my other stats and 15 extra points in water. Adding that up sums to me being 40% more efficient with water. And the completely random increase in lightning. It's only 10% away from actually having an affinity, so I have the ability to focus on lightning as well. Naruto thought with both awe and happiness that he was finally getting some, in his opinion, well-deserved gifts from the system. Equip Stormbringer. Equip title, Stormbringer? Equipping Stormbringer means the Genin of Konoha title will be replaced, as the user does not have the multi-title ability unlocked yet. Yes/no. Multi-title? Whatever. Yes. Naruto zoned his way back to Kakashi. The clone stepped forward. Well, you're about to find out. For your first jutsu, it's a bit unorthodox, but how about we learn? Meanwhile, Hiruzen Sarutobi prepared himself. As the Hokage of the Leaf, he rarely did so. But when pitted against one man, it was mandatory to do so. Or else, the consequences would be dire. The man in question entered his room without permission, seating himself in the chair across from Hiruzen. With half of his face bandaged, Hiruzen could only tell what he was thinking by the man's left eye. Danzo. And so the bout started. They talked like old friends, but they both knew that it wasn't the case truly. Maybe once, but certainly not anymore. The atrocities Danzo had done in the name of Konoha had made sure of that. Hiruzen, I have a proposal. Sarutobi knew it was coming, for Danzo always placed a hand on his cane for a brief second before asking for something. But which is? For the upcoming Chunin exams, the council and I have decided to implement a new rule. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Without the Hokage to approve? Danzo chuckled, the deep voice echoing throughout the small room. Of course not, Hokage-sama. This is why I have come here to tell you our idea. I believe you will agree with it as well once you hear of it. Speak. The mandate is as follows. All teams that wish to enter the coming and future Chunin exams must have a compulsory B-rank mission completed. That's unusual. Hiruzen noted with a frown. And why is that? Danzo smirked slightly. For many reasons. I'm sure you've noticed by now, but the rate of death in the Chunin exams is, quite frankly, more than high. Not only is a Konoha shinobi dying a horrible thought in its own right, it would be an embarrassment for us when other villages enter. I'm sure you wouldn't care for the first reason, but I can't be given the right to speak as well. Hiruzen snapped himself out of his thoughts. Regardless, why change such a rule now? And what effect would applying such a rule even have? It would be fishing out the good teams from the rest, wouldn't it? Only teams which are capable enough to successfully complete a B-rank mission would be fine during the Chunin exams, wouldn't they? Not only would this decrease the death rate in the exam, but it would also more accurately show the strength of Konoha to the other villages. Unsurprisingly, he gives valid points. I really can't give an honest rebuttal. I see no other choice. Thank you, Danzo. You and the rest of the council have done well. Danzo nodded humbly, but the faint smile was still present on his face. Now, what is the real reason for all of this? Hiruzen demanded. Danzo's smile faded. Why would there be any other reason? You and I both know I care about this village just as much as you, regardless of who is the Hokage or not. Hiruzen just sighed. He was getting too old for this political play. He took a long drag from his pipe before letting it out from the window of his room. Can't wait to finally retire. Hiruzen smiled warmly. Naruto, I'm placing my bets on you. 1 month later, Naruto roared in determination. He wouldn't lose here. He had already lost count of how long he had been under the sun, but at this point, it didn't matter. Next to him was his rival, Sasuke Uchiha, who was in the exact same position as the blonde. Both of them were in the plank position, sweat pouring down their chins and falling to the soft grass underneath as time continued to pass on, and the pain continued to build relentlessly. You can do it, Sasuke-kun. Sakura cheered from the sideline. Naruto gritted his teeth. Goddamn annoying teammates. But I won't waste my energy speaking. Kakashi came back to the real world next, peeking up from his regular book. You guys are still doing the exercise? I never said it was a competition. Shut up. Shut up. Both Naruto and Sasuke shouted out loud as the last of their energy started to deplete. Ding. Vitality has increased by 1 level. Naruto dismissed the message immediately. Just a few more. Ugh. Sasuke fell to his stomach first. Naruto immediately fell right afterward, glad to be finally done with the whole exercise. It was a basic one, but it certainly still hurt when done for prolonged periods of time. Told you I'd win, Naruto said smugly through his panting state. Sasuke didn't even look like he could speak as he clutched his stomach. A month had passed since Naruto had chosen his elemental affinity, and in that time, Team 7 as a whole had continued their training at a moderately fast rate. Faster than what they had been doing before the wave mission, of course. At least once a week, Kakashi would conduct a private training session with each member of the trio, something which drastically improved the lacking points of each genin. For Naruto, the Jonin had worked on a way to improve his lack of firepower. Whenever his affinity had been revealed to be water, he began training the blonde in a specific jutsu which he thought may reveal itself sooner or later to be incredibly crucial in the future. For Sakura, Kakashi had not done much except for work on her taijutsu and strength in general. Whether it was in the form of exceedingly long spars and gruesome exercises for hours straight, he made sure Sakura was stronger by the end of the day. Sasuke was a much more complicated issue when compared to the other two. To begin with, he didn't have the right mindset. His loss to Lee was greatly devastating to his ego and pride as a shinobi. And thus, Kakashi had to waste some time beating the broken ego out of the Uchiha before the actual training he was put through. At least, that was all that Naruto himself knew. He had tried to poke out the secret of the training Sasuke had gone through, but the whole deal was lip-sealed. This was why Naruto was incredibly curious to finally see all of his teammates' stats. He had abstained from doing so during the first month of training because he wanted to test his own improvement against the others. Without any more hesitation, he first made an observation of Sakura. Observing. Observation successful. Name: Sakura Haruno. Title: not applicable. Occupation: Genin of Konoha. Level: LV6. HP: 100 out of 100. MP: 100 out of 100. Chakra: 100 out of 100. STR: 4. Vit: 4. Dex: 3. Int: 6. Wis: 3. Luck: 5. That's a pretty good improvement, Naruto thought, eyes creased, thinking about back when he had first gotten the ability. He shuddered as he reminisced about the pink-haired girl's stats back then. They were practically no different from a civilian. Hell, they were less than Naruto's own, who at that point had no real ability if he didn't count his shadow clones. He glanced at Sasuke, swiping his head to the right, where the genin was still flat on his stomach. Observe. Observing. Observation successful. Name: Sasuke Uchiha. Title: Last Uchiha. Occupation: Genin of Konoha. Level: LV14. HP: 100 out of 100. MP: 100 out of 100. Chakra: 250 out of 250. STR: 10. Vit: 8. Dex: 16. Int: 7. Wis: 4. Luck: 2. Not too shabby. He definitely improved at a steady pace. It's not surprising his rate of leveling up was lower than mine considering he was already at a higher level. Naruto noted with a thoughtful frown. Naruto's own stats. Hey, Naruto, quit slacking around. Sakura shouted from somewhere further away than where she once was. Naruto was so deep in his thoughts that he unconsciously toned out everything else, something which seemed to happen a lot more recently when he opened his system. The blonde began running towards the rest of the team. Wait for me. Kakashi patted Naruto's hair affectionately. As if we would leave with you, Naruto. That sounds exactly like something you would do. Naruto deadpanned in return. Kakashi exaggeratedly placed a hand on his heart. Your words hurt me, my dear student. Sasuke coughed into his elbow. Sensei, please get to the matter at hand. Sakura nodded in agreement. You're right, Sasuke, Kakashi said, his voice instantly switching to what Naruto called Jonin mode, signaling that he was finally about to say something serious. We have been called directly to the Hokage's office. The Hokage's office for something other than a mission? Sakura questioned in disbelief, the look of surprise on her face easily noticeable. Sasuke and Naruto were also surprised, but for different reasons. Both of them had been to the office several times, and were used to the humbly small and functional area. And for what reason? Sasuke asked, voicing Naruto's own question faster. And this is when it starts getting into more serious territory. Kakashi adjusted his walking pace, slowing down so it would be easier to talk. I guess I have to start from a month ago, don't I? There were talks about a new mandate which would drastically change shinobi traditions. How come we didn't come to know about that? Naruto asked. Well, it was top secret at that time. Not even Jonins had the right to know. Naruto wasn't going to ask how Kakashi knew, and it looked like neither of his teammates wanted to either. He didn't blame them. Sakura hummed thoughtfully, wringing her fingers together. And what exactly does the mandate entail, Sensei? I don't know the entire details, to be completely truthful. All that I know is that it details towards the Chunin exams, which is the reason you much pay extra attention towards whatever the Hokage tells you. Naruto grinned. You can count on us, Sensei. They went out of the training fields after that, engaging in some small talk here and then. Then they finally reached their destination. The academy. The office was located in the administrative section of the academy, so it was quite a nostalgia trip to go through the rooms once again, this time as a real ninja. To think that I couldn't do a clone jutsu back then. Naruto whispered to himself, chuckling. Kakashi passed by the secretary without a word, not needing to actually show an ID card or anything else. Without hesitation, he knocked on the door to the Hokage's office. Come in. Naruto enthusiastically went in right after, wanting to tell the old man about what all he learned in his few months as a genin. That was, until he saw that there was another man in the office besides Hiruzen. Kakashi bowed. Hokage-sama, Danzo-sama. Naruto and the rest of Team 7 did the same. Naruto eyed the man called Danzo warily, but that wasn't without reason. The innate aura that the person emitted was enough to scare out Jonins themselves. It was creepy, almost, like a sense of dread overcoming him. The feeling that someone could be behind you at any moment in time, forcing Naruto to keep a shield of paranoia active. But he was still going to conduct the observe, obviously. Observing. Observation failed. Target's level is too high. Would player like a partial observation? Yes/no. Yes. Name, Danzo Shimura. Title, The Darkness of the Shinobi. Occupation, Leader of Root. Level, HP, 100 out of 100. MP, 100 out of 100. Chakra, STR, Vit, Dex, Int, Whis, Luck? What does this all mean? Naruto asked himself, eyes wide at what he saw. Darkness of the Shinobi? Leader of Root? It was something above his current pay grade. Naruto had a vague feeling that he wasn't supposed to actually know anything of what he saw, so decided to ignore it for now. It's best I look before I leap for now. He looked at the Hokage questioningly. The man had an odd apologetic look on his face, but the comforting smile was still present. To think of it, I've never used observe on the old man, did I? Observing. It's obvious how this will end up. Observation failed. Target's level is too high. Would player like a partial observation? Yes/no. Yes. Name: Hiruzen Sarutobi. Title: The Professor. Occupation: Hokage. Level: HP: 100 out of 100. MP: 100 out of 100. Chakra: STR. Vit: Dex. Int: Wis. Luck? Nothing new to learn here. You were called in here to learn about the new mandate which will be effective starting from today, but I'm sure you already knew that, Kakashi? Danzo said, his soft laugh unnatural with his rough look. Kakashi feigned ignorance, but knew it was pointless. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. I'm sure you don't, considering your insight into the Umbu. Regardless, let me recite the mandate to you. He cleared his throat. Those teams wishing to compete in the Chunin exams must have at least a B-rank mission recorded in their activity list. A B-rank mission? Kakashi's face immediately lightened up in recognition. So that's their goal. Isn't a B-rank mission too high for some of the Genin teams, regardless of their ability? Kakashi asked curiously. Hiruzen spoke up next. While it is stated as B-rank mission, they are, to be honest, more so C-rank than B. The missions are mostly non-combat related and won't consist of too much fighting. That's what you said for the mission in Wave. Naruto thought incredulously. It had to be a curse at this point. Naruto tried to ignore Danzo and his piercing gaze as he spoke. If I may ask, Hokage-sama, haven't we already finished an A-rank mission before? Hiruzen laughed at the use of Hokage-sama from Naruto of all people. Yes, it's true. It's recorded that Team 7 have successfully completed an A-rank. However, other villages won't see it that way. They are only counting the missions from this month onwards. For whatever reason, will we be assigned the mission right now? Kakashi inquired. Correct, the Hokage said, pulling out a stack of papers. He flipped through some pages in a binder before stopping. Your mission is to capture a group of bandits and bring them back alive to Konoha forces in a maximum of 2 weeks. That is the only objective. You must be wondering why it is a B-rank mission, right? Naruto nodded. The bandits are sanctioned near IWA borders. Kakashi immediately swerved his head towards the Hokage in shock, looking between him and Naruto rapidly. The Hokage merely nodded, recognizing the Jonin's predicament, but refrained from answering. Is he insane? Kakashi thought with confusion. The chances of IWA shinobi appearing and recognizing Naruto is quite low, but the risk is just as high, no, much higher. If they wage war against the Jinchuriki of all people. Yet, there has to be a different reason. The two people in front of me are too smart to make such a drastic mistake. But what could it be? IWA. Isn't that one of the other shinobi nations? Naruto asked no one in particular. Danzo smiled, but not in a condescending manner. Correct, Naruto. So why this mission in particular? Kakashi asked, dreading the answer. Danzo's smile seemed to widen even further. The truth is, you aren't the only team who received this mission. Naruto's face scrunched up. Who else is there? Lee's team? Shikamaru? Kiba? They aren't from Konoha. Yes, someone from IWA received the same mission. You see, this mission isn't really a mission. It's an early competition between the participating villages of the Chunin exams. Kakashi's thoughts were correct. These madmen. There's more than Suna attending? Danzo smirked as he got up from his chair, his voice grandiose as ever, sending chills down Naruto's spine. Next month, Konoha will be hosting the first ever International Chunin exam. Ding! New quest. International Chunin exam created. Quest details. Join as a contender in the upcoming Chunin exam. Quest rewards. EXP 1000. Perk. ? Unlocked. Failure. Die. Does player accept the quest? Yes/no. End. Yo. Mind-blowing amount of reviews last chapter. Let's not stop. Follow this story to keep in touch with the updates. We are getting to 1,000 followers soon. Yep, I went with water. It was the only logical way to go, in my opinion. Some people wanted wind, but I don't really see the reasoning behind that choice. The ending sequence, well, it's a process. The Chunin exams are going to be incredibly exciting and much more extensive than the canon version. I've seen other fics include other villages without proper reasoning. which is what I wanted to avoid in this FIC. What will happen near IWA? Who will Naruto meet? Take a guess. And perks, I won't be talking about that right now.